The counteroffensive. The silence in Marcus's flat felt oppressive after Alex turned off her phone. She stood by the window watching rain streak down the glass, London's lights blurring into watercolor smears. 28 hours until Rebecca's deadline. 28 hours to dismantle 2 years of obsessive planning. "You should eat something," Marcus said from the kitchen doorway. He'd changed into fresh clothes, dark jeans and a gray cashmere jumper that made his eyes look storm cloud blue. The bruise on his jaw had deepened to purple-black overnight. Alex turned from the window. "I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten since breakfast yesterday." He crossed to her, carrying 2 plates of pasta carbonara. The domestic normalcy of it, Marcus cooking in his minimalist kitchen while they planned a legal counterattack, felt surreal. "Come on. You need fuel for whatever comes next." She accepted the plate, surprised by how good it smelled. They sat at his dining table, the MacBook between them still displaying James Hartley's testimony and Rebecca's employment records. Alex forced herself to eat, the creamy pasta warming her from the inside. "Richard texted while you were in the shower," Marcus said. His investigators traced Rebecca's surveillance equipment purchases. She used a shell company, but they found the paper trail. Professional-grade cameras, encrypted servers, the works. She spent over £40,000 setting up her surveillance network. Alex set down her fork. £40,000. For revenge. The investigators also found her therapy records. Well, fragments of them. She was sectioned for 3 weeks 2 years ago. Psychiatric hold at the Priory, right after she saw us together at the engagement party. "Jesus." Alex rubbed her temples. "Can we use that?" "Carefully. We don't want to look like we're attacking someone's mental health. But it establishes a pattern of instability, especially combined with Hartley's restraining order." Marcus reached across the table, his surgeon's fingers warm on hers. "We're building a strong case, Alex. Rebecca's not as invincible as she thinks." Alex's phone, still turned off, sat like a grenade on the table. She knew Rebecca would be sending message after message, each one more threatening than the last. Let her stew. Let her wonder why Alex wasn't responding. "What time is Sophie coming over?" Alex asked. 3 o'clock. Natasha's bringing coffee, and Richard's bringing the full investigative report. Marcus squeezed her hand. "We're going to tear Rebecca's case apart piece by piece." But Alex's mind was already racing ahead, legal arguments forming like chess moves. The photos Rebecca has, even if we prove she obtained them through illegal surveillance, they're still real. Marcus, with all those women, the tabloids won't care how she got them. "I know." His voice went quiet. "I'm not proud of that period, Alex. I was angry and hurt, and I handled it badly. But it ended before I met you again, before I knew what I actually wanted. I'm not judging you." Alex turned her hand over, lacing their fingers together. "I'm just thinking strategically. Rebecca's leverage isn't just the surveillance, it's the truth of what's in those photos. We can't make them disappear." "So what do?" Alex met his eyes. "We control the narrative, before she can." Marcus studied her face. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking Rebecca expects us to be reactive, defensive, scrambling to prevent her from releasing the photos." Alex stood, pacing to the window again. The rain had intensified, drumming against the glass. "But what if we go on offense instead? What if we file for an emergency injunction against her first?" "On what grounds?" "Stalking, harassment, illegal surveillance. We have Hartley's testimony about her 3-year campaign against him. We have evidence of her psychiatric hold. We have proof she spent £40,000 on surveillance equipment." Alex's pulse quickened as the strategy crystallized. "We paint her as an obsessive stalker with a documented history of harassment. We get a restraining order before she can release anything." Marcus rose, coming to stand beside her at the window. "And if she releases the photos anyway? Then she's violated a court order. That's criminal contempt. She'd face jail time." Alex turned to him. "Rebecca's whole plan relies on us being too afraid to fight back. She thinks she holds all the cards because she has those photos. But she's committed multiple crimes to get them. That's our leverage. She could still release them before we get the injunction. She could, but I don't think she will." Alex leaned against the window frame, feeling the cold glass through her shirt. "Rebecca's been planning this for 2 years. She's meticulous, patient. She wants to watch us suffer, Watch us choose between our relationship and our reputations. If she just dumps the photos to the tabloids now, it's over too quickly. No drama, no control. Marcus was quiet for a long moment, his reflection ghostly in the rain-streaked window. You're betting our entire future on your read of her psychology. I'm betting on what I know about obsession. Alex met his eyes in the glass. Rebecca doesn't just want to hurt us. She wants to dominate us, make us dance to her tune. An injunction flips the power dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one on the defensive, the one facing legal consequences. And if you're wrong, Alex turned to face him fully. Then the photos come out and we deal with it, together. But at least we'll have fought back instead of just surrendering. Marcus studied her face, and she saw the moment he made his decision. Okay, we file for the injunction. When? Today. Now. Before Rebecca expects it. Alex checked her watch, 2:47 p.m. Sophie and Natasha will be here in 13 minutes. We'll need Richard to coordinate with the firm's litigators. Emergency applications to the High Court take time, but if we move fast, we might get a hearing tomorrow morning. Tuesday morning, 15 hours before her deadline. Exactly. Alex felt the familiar rush of courtroom strategy, the pieces falling into place. We show up in court with Hartley's testimony, the surveillance evidence, her psychiatric records, everything. We make Rebecca the defendant instead of the puppet master. Marcus pulled her into his arms, and she let herself lean into his warmth. You're terrifying when you're in barrister mode, you know that? Good. Rebecca should be terrified. The buzzer sounded, Sophie and Natasha right on time. Alex pulled back from Marcus's embrace, straightening her clothes. Game face on. War Council convening. Sophie burst through the door first, carrying 2 coffee thermoses and her laptop bag. Natasha followed with a stack of folders. Both women looked exhausted but determined. Please tell me you have good news, Sophie said, setting the thermoses on Marcus's dining table. Because I've been up all night tracing Rebecca's digital footprint, and I need this to be worth it. We're filing for an emergency injunction, Alex said, restraining order against Rebecca for stalking and harassment. We're going on offense. Natasha's eyes widened. Before she releases the photos? Especially before she releases the photos. Alex gestured to the table. Sit. We need to coordinate everything. Richard arrived 10 minutes later, carrying a leather portfolio that he set down with a heavy thump. I've spoken with Elizabeth Chen at the firm. No relation to Rebecca, thank God. She's one of our best civil litigators. She's standing by to draft the injunction application. What did you tell her? Alex asked. Richard's expression was grim. Everything. The surveillance, the harassment, Hartley's testimony. She thinks we have a strong case, but she wants to move immediately. High court applications require supporting evidence, witness statements, the works. We're looking at an all-nighter to get everything ready for a Tuesday morning hearing. Then we start now. Alex opened her laptop. Sophie, what did you find in Rebecca's digital footprint? Sophie pulled up a file on her computer. Rebecca's good, but she's not invisible. I traced her surveillance network back through 3 proxy servers. She's been monitoring Marcus's movements for 18 months. His credit card usage, his phone location data, his social media. She hacked his iCloud account last March. Last March, Marcus repeated. That was right after Alex and I reconnected at the charity gala. Exactly. Sophie turned her screen so everyone could see the timeline. Rebecca's surveillance intensified dramatically after that event. Before March, she was just watching from a distance. After March, she went full-scale stalker. That's when she started collecting the photos, documenting every woman Marcus was with. Alex felt sick. She was building her arsenal. For 18 months. Natasha's voice was tight with anger. My cousin spent a year and a half planning to destroy my best friend's relationship. Jesus Christ. The room fell silent. Sophie reached for Natasha's hand, squeezing it gently. The pain on both their faces was palpable, family loyalty colliding with friendship, trust shattered by betrayal. I'm sorry, Alex said quietly. I know this is... Don't. Natasha cut her off. Rebecca made her choices. She's been lying to my face for 2 years, playing the concerned cousin while plotting this insanity. I'm done protecting her. Richard cleared his throat. We need witness statements from everyone. Alex, you'll need to detail every threatening message, every surveillance incident. Marcus, we need your account of the Edinburgh weekend with Rebecca and everything that followed. Sophie, your technical findings need to be documented in an expert report. What about Hartley? Marcus asked. I spoke with him this morning. He's willing to fly down from Edinburgh to testify in person, if necessary. His restraining order against Rebecca is still active. She's not allowed within 500 meters of him or his wife. Richard pulled out a document. His statement is devastating. 3 years of harassment, hacked emails, threats against his wife, showing up at his workplace. Rebecca even created fake social media accounts to stalk them. Alex read through Hartley's statement, her lawyer's mind cataloging each piece of evidence. Pattern of behavior, escalating obsession, history of ignoring legal boundaries. It was damning. This is good, she said. Really good. Combined with the surveillance evidence and her psychiatric hold, we can establish that Rebecca is a clear and present danger. There's one more thing, Richard hesitated. Patricia Ashworth called me an hour ago. She's heard rumors about Rebecca. Apparently, Rebecca approached her last week, trying to feed her information about you and Marcus. Patricia shut her down, but she wanted me to know. Alex's head snapped up. Rebecca tried to recruit Patricia? To weaponize her, more like. Rebecca told Patricia she had evidence of ethical violations at Morrison and Blackwood, tried to get her to file a Bar Standards Board complaint. Richard's expression was dark. Patricia's not stupid. She recognized it as manipulation and declined, but she's willing to provide a statement about Rebecca's approach. So Rebecca's been trying to attack us from multiple angles. Marcus leaned back in his chair. The photos are just one weapon. She wanted to destroy Alex's professional reputation, too. She wants total annihilation, Sophie said quietly. That's what obsession looks like. It's not enough to win. The other person has to be completely destroyed. The room fell silent again. Alex looked around at her allies, Richard with his decades of legal experience, Sophie with her technical expertise, Natasha with her fierce loyalty, Marcus with his steady strength. A week ago, she'd been alone, isolated by 3 years of self-protection. Now she had a war council. All right, she said, her voice steady. Let's build our case. Richard, coordinate with Elizabeth Chen on the injunction application. Sophie, I need that technical report documenting every instance of illegal surveillance. Natasha, help Sophie with the timeline. We need to show the court exactly how long this has been going on. Marcus and I will draft our witness statements. What about Rebecca's deadline? Natasha asked. She expects an answer by Thursday noon. Let her expect it. Alex's smile was sharp. She'll get her answer in court. They worked through the afternoon and into the evening, the dining table covered with laptops, documents, and cold coffee. Alex drafted and redrafted her statement, each version more precise than the last. Marcus sat beside her, his own statement growing longer as he documented Rebecca's initial pursuit in Edinburgh, her persistent contact afterward, his growing discomfort with her intensity. I should have seen it, he said at one point, staring at his screen. The way she wouldn't let go, the way she kept finding excuses to contact me. I thought she was just persistent, confident. I didn't realize it was obsession. Obsessive people are good at hiding it, Sophie said from across the table. They seem passionate instead of unstable, devoted instead of dangerous. That's how they get close enough to hurt you. She wasn't talking about Rebecca anymore. Alex met her eyes, seeing the pain there, Sophie grappling with her cousin's true nature, wondering what she'd missed. By 9 p.m., they had a draft application ready. Richard sent it to Elizabeth Chen, who called back 30 minutes later. It's strong, Elizabeth's voice came through Richard's speakerphone. Really strong. I can file first thing Tuesday morning. We'll request an emergency hearing for that afternoon, cite the imminent threat of Rebecca releasing the material at her Thursday deadline. Judge Morrison, no relation, I assume, is sitting in the High Court this week. She's sympathetic to stalking cases. What are our chances? Alex asked. 70-30 in our favor, maybe better. The surveillance evidence is compelling, Hartley's testimony establishes pattern of behavior, and the psychiatric hold shows instability. Rebecca's solicitor will argue we're trying to silence her, but with this much documentation, that's a hard sell. And if we get the injunction? Then Rebecca faces contempt charges if she releases anything. Plus, we can pursue criminal charges for the surveillance and stalking. She's looking at serious consequences. Alex felt something loosen in her chest. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank me when we win. I'll see you in court Tuesday afternoon. After Elizabeth hung up, the group sat in exhausted silence. Through the window, London glittered in the darkness, oblivious to their small war. I should go, Natasha said finally. Sophie and I both need sleep before tomorrow. Sophie stood, gathering her laptop. Call if you need anything. Anything at all. They left together, Natasha's arm around Sophie's waist. Richard departed 10 minutes later, promising to arrive at Chambers by 6 a.m. to coordinate final preparations. Alone again, Alex and Marcus cleaned up the remnants of their war council. Empty coffee cups, scattered papers, the detritus of legal battle. Alex felt wrung out, exhausted but also strangely energized. They'd done it, built a real case, turned defense into offense. You should turn your phone back on, Marcus said. See what Rebecca's sent. Alex retrieved her phone from the table, holding it for a moment before pressing the power button. It buzzed to life, immediately flooding with notifications. 17 texts from Rebecca, each one more frantic than the last. Why aren't you responding? Alexandra, this isn't a game. You're making this worse for yourself. Answer me. I know you're reading these. You think you can ignore me? You think that will help? Thursday noon, Alexandra. That's your last chance. The final text had arrived 20 minutes ago. I know what you're planning. It won't work. I'm always 3 steps ahead. Alex showed Marcus the screen. She knows. How could she know? She doesn't. Not for certain. She's guessing, trying to rattle us. Alex typed a response, her fingers steady. See you in court, Rebecca. My solicitor will be in touch. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. The reply came within seconds. You're going to regret this. Alex turned off her phone again and set it down. Let her threaten. We have the law on our side now. Marcus pulled her close, and she felt the steady beat of his heart against her cheek. 24 hours until they filed. 28 hours until Rebecca's deadline. The endgame was beginning. Whatever happens, Marcus murmured into her hair, we face it together. Alex closed her eyes, letting herself believe it. For the first time in 3 years, she wasn't alone in the fight. For the first time since this nightmare began, she felt like they might actually win. But in the back of her mind, Rebecca's words echoed, I'm always 3 steps ahead. Alex pushed the thought away. Tomorrow they'd file. Tomorrow they'd take the fight to court. Tomorrow they'd show Rebecca Chen that obsession wasn't the same as power. Tomorrow they'd find out who was really 3 steps ahead.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.